Good morning, Tampa Bay. Channelside in the morning, live on the Channelside Sports Network. I am Danny. You know who that guy is over there. Look, Tampa out today. Old Evan Bush.
I know I had
Got
to
the Rays hat, the Brady shirt. You gotta love it.
It's the day after morning where we're mourning a loss for the Stanley Cup. So I had to move on to the other sports that we have. One that's going on, and then the other one that's coming up in a couple months.
That's fair.
So I had to. I would love to wear Tampa Bay Lightning gear right now, but it's just too painful right now. So
it is.
It's time.
It's unfortunate. Something that we don't even have in the show. Have you seen the video of Nikita Kucherov at the end of the game?
Yes, I did actually see that video. It's the one where he's standing kind of like in center ice, and he's just kind of standing there. And I think it was Kucherov that came over and just kind of gave him a big hug. Is that the video you're talking about?
No. So apparently,
another one. Oh, is it?
Is it where the temper tantrum?
Yes, I did see that one where he's going through the tunnel and he throws whatever he threw.
No, not even that one.
There's another one?
There is another one. So this is during the game. There's I think there's like 25 seconds left at the end of this game.
Okay.
And he goes to the bench to get a stick, and the stick's not ready. So he throws his gloves at the member who's supposed to get him the stick because the stick's not ready.
What?
And so I had a friend that lives in Detroit, and he sent me a link to a few different accounts. Mm-hmm. Most of them, were like Canadian media, like TSN guys and things like that. And he's like, "Hey, what's the temperature on this down here?" And I was like, "This is the first I'm even hearing of this." Like then I start going through, and I'm like, "Okay, so this is like these are talking points for everybody outside of Tampa."
Why? I haven't seen this video shared at all, even on Twitter. And usually Twitter captures these things and shares and retweets them like hell, especially for Bolts fans. Is this an underground video the Lightning don't want you to see?
Maybe. It's
interesting.
Possible.
No, I have not seen that. Did you watch it?
I did. I mean, you can't really see anything. It looks like it's from behind.
Okay.
And you see like his hands like his hands jousting forward. Almost to the point where it looks like he's punching a teammate.
Well, rightfully so. If it's not ready and you got to get back out there rightfully so. I'd be pissed off too, especially what was going on in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I told my buddy, I was like, I mean, if you want my reaction is, hey, guy, you have one job.
Yeah.
That's my immediate reaction. You've got one job to do, and if you can't do your solo job, if you get smacked in the face with a hockey glove in the air,
you know what, Danny? That reminds me of Snoop Dogg. He employs one guy to roll blunts. One guy. He pays him $50,000 a year. He did pay him $40,000. Now because of inflation, pays him $50,000 a year just to roll blunts. He has one job to do. So imagine if Snoop was wanting a blunt and the guy didn't have one ready on time. He would get pimp slapped in the face by Snoop. So this is kind of the same thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. I'm just saying. You have one job to do, and it's during the game, and it's not ready. You're going to get smacked.
And like I said, rightfully so. I think that
angry Russian. You don't want to get pimp slapped by a very angry Russian. You don't want that to happen. You don't have my stick ready. I'm going to smack you in the face with a bottle of vodka when we leave here.
If with vodka.
Yes, with vodka.
You gotta throw a Molotov cocktail at you next time you don't have the stick ready, buddy. You have one, but that's not I guess the point is like that's not even a talking point down here in Tampa. We're talking about this team played their asses off. They left it all on the ice. John Cooper said some great things about the team afterwards. And we're not talking about that. Like we don't
care about that.
Right. And ESPN even caught it on camera. Well, it's at center ice. I would assume that they would have caught it on camera. Like
I really hope that the NHL maybe breaks their contract with ESPN going forward when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs, because that is probably some of the worst commentating I've ever heard in my lifetime. This needs to go back to Fox or go to NBC. because ESPN, you are terrible at employing the wrong people for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
You know, unless they offer Gary Thorne some money to come back.
No, they just need to get it off of ESPN altogether. Put it back on NBC.
And that's a plausible thought because, you know, something that I was talking, actually, I mentioned this to Henry yesterday. I've had conversations with Emily Kaplan over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Kaplan is a fantastic journalist.
Just not.
She used to be on Around the Horn. She was great on Around the Horn. I really strongly am starting to wonder if ESPN is feeding specific lines and specific questions saying, hey, you need to get this. You need to get this out. This is the question you need to ask because we're in a social media viral world. We need things like this to happen.
I like the conspiracy theory, and I would probably have to. I'm going to agree with you up on that one because just the kind of shit she was saying was just. What are you even talking about half the time? Is this even relevant to like the game of what you're asking these players? I wouldn't be surprised if they were feeding that in her earpiece. Like, hey, you need to ask this, or hey, you need to bring up this. I like that. I like that. This is now turned into the Channel X Files.
That's right. The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. Yes, I like that. I think that's a plausible thing. That could be true. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the situation because she was god awful.
Well, and Sean McDonough was absolute trash. He at the very last game he was like, and unfortunately, you know, Pat Maroon's Stanley Cup streak is gonna end here. You know, he won it with the Blues and he won the last 2 years with the Avalanche. And you know, when the Bolts win this year, you know, it's just gonna be over. And I was like, how did you completely ass backwards that entire thing?
There's a reason why ESPN is losing all of these top talent people to other networks that are putting on sports. You got to look at Amazon, look at Apple TV. They're putting on sports now. Like ESPN to me hasn't really been relevant in a very long time. When they stopped kind of being that frat house bro culture, which I loved back in like the 90s and the early 2000s, when they stopped doing that, I'm done with you. It's ESPN's just become like a political shit show when it comes to commentating on anything. And especially now and during live events, they employed like the wrong people.
Yep. They do. 100%.
Shame on you, ESPN.
It's Bush League.
Bush League, bro. Smack you in the mouth, ESPN. Bush League.
Jesus. I don't even know. Outside of this, we've got a good show lined up for you guys today.
If you're tuning in, join us in the comments. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your comments about the Bolts, the Rays, and the Buccaneers too, as well. So join us in the comments. Even if you're wrong, we will still talk to you.
Yes, because we're never wrong. We're not.
No, we're never wrong. ESPN.
We're the voice of the fans, and we're the loudest voice of the fans. So therefore, we're never wrong. I mean, that's just how it boils down. Good Lord. The Tampa Bay Rays are on a winning streak. 3 games in a row now. We were hoping that this was going to be a get-right series versus the Pirates. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they looked pretty damn good. Last game, Sugar Shane had 10 strikeouts.
He needs to be the front runner for the Cy Young if he's not already.
Look, these numbers. I mean, he's tied for 4th in win-loss with 8.3, second in ERA 1.77, first in strikeouts with 123, and first in WHIP with a 0.83.
I was gonna say he had another outing with double-digit strikeouts again. He had 10 against the Pirates when he was out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, come on, man.
I mean. Not to mention the bats are finally waking up. Maybe not all of them.
But against the Pirates, Danny. I mean,
but the inconsistent Rays that we would have seen, you know, a month or so ago,
right, would have dropped
possibly even 2 of them, leaving us to go, crap. Like what are the Rays like? What are they doing again? Like, you know,
and these are the types of series that you want to like win. Like these are the mm-hmm. games that we thought they would win against the Orioles, which they haven't done yet all season long. So these are the types of series that you have to like, hey, let's maybe win these so that way we don't look like a bunch of schmucks going in, especially this week where they play the Brewers for 2, and the Brew Crew is a pretty tough team to beat in the NL. So
yeah.
And then you got a 4-game set against Toronto right after that, which is going to be a tough one too as well. So,
fun fact is the Brewers are the only team with a winning record that has a worse run differential than the Rays. They've outscored they're plus 18 when the Rays are plus 19. So that's going for them too. Like,
yes, it's going to be a fun 2-game set. I mean, they start today against the Brewers. I'm actually going to be at tomorrow's game, which will be fun. I haven't seen the Brewers at all in person never, because I don't think they've been to the Trop at all. This might be their first time being at Tropicana Field, which is kind of cool.
Hopefully they hit one off the catwalk. I know we don't want home runs.
The Brewers or the Rays? The Brewers or the Rays?
Yes. I'd prefer the Rays, but okay, I mean, I would like it if Brewers fans didn't know how to react if the Brewers hit a home run off the catwalk. Though, like, what just happened here?
So the Wizard of Boz is going up against Brandon Woodruff today. That's the matchup, and then tomorrow it's going to be Eric Lauer against good old Jeffrey Springs. Jeffrey Springs has been fantastic on the mound this season as well. So I am looking forward to going to the game tomorrow. I'm just kind of tomorrow's attendance is going to be kind of interesting, especially at a noon game on a Wednesday.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Hopefully they've got some ticket deals going on where they have like Kid Day or something like that, because it might be so like quiet in there. You'll probably hear me on the telecast.
I was gonna say that's one of those quirks that baseball has that you either love or you hate. Like the matinee games during the week, and you're like, well, if I'm at school or at work or something, like I've missed the game,
right?
So you like have to plan specifically to go to these games, which makes it difficult, but the season's so long that you kind of need to do those anyway, especially when you account for double headers and things like that. So
right, it should be fun. I mean, I'm gonna be sitting behind home plate with my dad, so you might hear me on the telecast tomorrow, or you might see me.
So we got to get you to make a poster board.
See, I'm not the poster board type of person. I tried
that. To your dad. Nah. My son brought me. Follow Channelside Sports.
I'll tell you what. If I do that, my dad will do that. He'll give me this look. No, I think there was one game where myself and a buddy of mine, we brought in signs and then they took them away. And I was like, I'm done doing this. And they weren't even that bad of a sign too. There was no like profanity or nothing like that made fun of anybody. It was a sign. And they were like, no, you can't. I'm like, well, then take them away for them. You throw them away for me. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, sir. Can you get up and throw those away?
Yeah.
No. You want them? Oh, you don't, but you don't want them? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
Danny, let me ask you now. I know we swept the Pirates. We're going to this 2-game set against the Brew Crew. Could we see the winning ways continue? Or, I mean, we've seen this before where they've won 3 in a row and then next game it's fall flat and then we're back to square one again. I mean, hopefully that's not the case, but what do you think could happen today?
I think it's possible. I really am, I'm leaning back on that momentum of, hey, we took care of business the way that we were supposed to against the Pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Move it forward, continue going. Like you said, the Brewers are they're number 1 in their division.
Right.
So they're obviously a good team. The NL is not quite as tight-knit as the AL, specifically the AL East. I can see them ending this series with a 5-game winning streak now.
Okay.
Which makes that Toronto series all the more important.
Don't tell Dave Roberts that the AL East isn't a good division, because he thinks his division, the NL West, is the best in baseball. So don't tell him that.
But is it though?
No, it's not. He's silly.
Well, what are you thinking? Do you think that they can?
Do you want my realistic approach to this, or do you want my answer that everybody wants to hear?
Give me both.
Okay,
we can tie them in.
I say they lose this game, win tomorrow, because I'll be there, and then that's what's going to happen. I think after that whole 3-game winning streak is in sweeping the Pirates is great. I mean, that's a good confidence booster after the week and a half they had before that. But I think going against a team like the Brewers, I think they're just going to fall flat. Boz might have a great outing, but the bats will be cold once again. That's what I think is going to happen. Hey, look, I'm being realistic, people. Look, being realistic. If you don't like it, go to another show. All right? But I think they'll win tomorrow, though. They'll split.
Okay.
I mean, I'm hoping for a 2-game sweep, but realistically, I think they'll split.
Winning 4 out of 5, I'll take that, though, still.
I am happy, though. Hunter Renfrow, a Ray killer, is on the IL, so he will not be in the lineup for the 2 games.
There we go.
We will see the return of Willie Adames. He will be back in the drop, which not looking forward to because he's been tearing the cover off the ball ever since he got traded.
He has. Yes, he
has.
It's
okay. We have Wander Franco, so it's fine. It's all right. It's all right.
That's right. I mean, look, if we can win 4 out of 5, I'm okay with that. The issue is tying this back is the AL East is so close together that, I mean, if you look at the standings now, you know, second through, we'll say second, third, and fourth, because they're starting to create separation between, you know, those 3 spots and the Orioles at the bottom. Obviously, the Yankees have created a Grand Canyon-sized gap between first and second place right now, but
they have a nice little cushion.
They do. It just makes it difficult for. I mean, we're talking about. Look, the Rays are the Rays have the best winning streak in their division right now. They've won 3 straight games, 5-5 over the last 10. That's not the greatest, but they're 8 games over 500. So they're moving in the right direction. It's just so difficult because you're a half game behind Toronto now because you had the day off yesterday. That's the only reason they dropped back to 4th. They were in 3rd yesterday. Toronto played. Toronto won. Well, now the Rays are in 4th. Like, that's how it's going to be until you start seeing 5 games, 6 games, 7-game winning streaks, so you can start creating that separation and get your positive momentum going forward.
And, you know, Danny, I look at this where the standings are at for second, third, and fourth place. And I think this is where everybody thought it was going to be this year. Like, these 3 teams were going to be kind of tight-knit. Now, obviously, we didn't think the Yankees were going to be this good. And I don't think anybody thought the Yankees were going to be this good this year. But when it came to the second, third, and fourth place teams, I think it's right where it's supposed to be. Now, obviously, when the Red Sox started off miserably in April, now they've won 8 of their last 10, and now, I mean, they've came out of nowhere with that scorching win streak, and then now they're in second place now. But, you know, the 3 teams that, you know, we all kind of thought would be kind of close together in the race, it's right where it's supposed to be. Now, obviously, we want the Rays in the second place spot, but I mean, I think this is where it's going to be until like game 162, because these teams are playing. I would say the Rays are playing kind of better than what we've seen. And now, since we're kind of going into the All-Star break coming up, it's turn the page. Let's see what we can do before the All-Star break. And then after, let's think about, you know, if we're going to be doing anything at the trade deadline. I think with how they're playing now, kind of gives me a little bit more confidence of them being more as a buyer than a seller at the trade deadline. Because for a while there, and we've talked about this before, it was kind of looking like, man, maybe they should just kind of sell some assets off and look towards the future. But now that they look a little better, I think they're going to be buyers more than anything. So, and
they should be. And it took some injuries to happen, but they're showing that they're not going to be complacent right now. They're not just going to sit idly on their hands.
I mean, look at the wild card, dude. It's insane.
It's so close.
So close. Even the Guardians, aka the Indians, they'll always be the Indians to me. It's that close for them too. So
and if the Guardians aren't on that 5-game losing streak right now, it's even closer.
It's even closer. Yeah, exactly.
And we're talking about the Rays are in 4th in the wild card race then.
Mm-hmm. And then it's crazy how the rest of the way after Cleveland, the teams that are underneath are under 500, but they're still like 5-6 games back, which 5-6 games in a wild card race is still doable, which is nuts.
It is.
It's nuts.
I agree.
I love and hate baseball at the same time. But I like, especially I was while I was supposed to be doing work yesterday, a couple of videos popped up on YouTube, and it was the 2008 ALCS, where that was one of the most amazing championship series of all time with the Red Sox and the Rays. And I love October baseball.
There's nothing like October baseball.
Oh my goodness, you've had so many great moments, especially in October.
I totally agree. I think October, and obviously, that's when we talk about, like, a couple weeks ago when we were like, the Rays are not looking good. They're inconsistent. But like, when I talk about baseball, I look to build towards October. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to be like, well, I want to finish. Like, I know you have to have baby steps, and okay, well, I'd like to finish June here. I don't want to finish June in 4th place, because the way that it was looking at that time was, okay, the Red Sox are going to create separation in 2nd place.
Right.
So now we're talking about a race between 3rd and 4th place between the Blue Jays and the Rays, and the Blue Jays were streaking at that time too. Everybody was falling down with injuries. And instead of, going, no, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. You start questioning and start saying, okay, well, how is this going to translate to October? Are we going to be playing in October? Because at that time, it didn't look like it.
Right.
I mean, I feel a little more confident right now. I think Baseball Reference, they have it. It's a 79% chance of the Rays making the playoffs now, which is up from 71%, which is what it was last week.
Wasn't it like 65 like a couple weeks ago?
Yep, it dropped.
All right, so it
went from 71 to 65, and now it's back up to 79.
Again. Okay, well, that's good. I mean, it's on the up and up, so we'll see. So
yeah, I mean, they're like, hey, you guys swept the Pirates 79%, 79%.
What a great feat, sweeping the Pirates.
But that's the things you have to expect from the team, though. If you're a contender, you have to beat the teams that are not contenders. Did you know that there are 10 NBA players who make more each year than the entire Pittsburgh Pirates roster?
I did not know that. Mostly because I don't follow the NBA, but I did not know that. And it doesn't surprise me because the Pirates just have a roster full of no names that we've never really heard of before. So
we think that it's bad spending in Tampa. Try being a Pirates fan. So maybe we should pump the brakes on the Rays don't spend. I mean, it would be nice.
No, I'm not. I'm never pumping the brakes, Danny. They don't spend, and that's just the reality.
No, I'm saying, like, it could be worse. It could be much worse. But true. You're in a division where you're probably not. Baseball is a sport where you buy your championships. This
is true.
Be realistic here. And until you start cutting checks, opening the wallet, you're probably always going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to a World Series.
You're always going to be the bridesmaid and never the bride.
That's right.
Yes.
Speaking of World Series, I put a poll out yesterday on the Channelside Twitter. I asked, what do you think is the most prestigious trophy out of all of our major sports?
I love that debate. See, I love that debate because there's no real. Well, okay, let me take the NBA trophy. You can put that on the wayside.
They used to have prestige.
Yeah, not anymore. I think Lord Stanley's Cup is number one, man.
I mean, in our poll, Lord Stanley's Cup is number one by a landslide, which makes me curious. Are you the lone person that voted for the Commissioner's Trophy? Because there's one vote for the Commissioner's Trophy. Everything else,
that was Rob Manfred because he thinks it's just some metal. So that
right.
I know why Lord Stanley's Cup is number one is because you can do so much things with it. You can drink out of it. You can party with it. You can sleep with it. You could, like, the way you can hoist
in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do. And what's cool about it is they have every team that's won the championship on that trophy.
Yeah,
like with the Lombardi Trophy, can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
With the Commissioner's Trophy, there's no places for names on that thing. And for the NBA Trophy, no, I don't think so. Like Lord, and it's huge. Like, compared to the other championship trophies, Lord Stanley's Cup towers over the rest of them. So, yes, that is.
And the name is just better.
Yeah, Lord Stanley's Cup.
Baseball's got to do something. The Commissioner's Trophy is just a stupid name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because especially if you hate the commissioner of the league at the time.
Then, and that's true as well. But I mean, even still, like Lord Stanley's Cup is a fantastic name. Even like the Lombardi Trophy, because it symbolizes something. Like the Commissioner's Trophy just sounds like a pompous name to me. Where the commissioner is like, I'm better than all of you. That's why it's called the Commissioner's Trophy.
You do have you realized like when they have the World Series, they don't really kind of say the Commissioner's Trophy a lot. They don't even say it as much because it's such a terrible name for a trophy.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's I'm not a fan of it personally.
I'm not either. Am I?
Hey,
I mean, on the poll, the NBA didn't get any votes, so
zero.
Well,
that's what I said, and maybe it's because I got auto corrected to Brian being the IAN. People are like, what the hell is this? Who's this Irish man? Larry O'Brien. Who is like?
Well, that's the new trophy for the NBA.
Ugh, good Lord.
The O'Brien trophy. That's right. A couple of Rays news and notes. Congratulations to Isaac Paredes, who was named the AL Player of the Week.
Have a week. Good Lord.
Have a week, young man. Have a week. How about that, Austin Meadows fans? How about that trade? Congratulations to him. Should we talk about the stadium site?
I mean, we have to. This is a never-ending conversation for the last decade.
So this came out, I believe, this morning from Fox 13 News of Tampa Bay, good old Fox 13. The proposed Ybor site may no longer work for the Tampa Bay Rays. Oh, man. So just to preface this, this per Fox 13 News, the latest proposal for the Tampa Bay Rays to relocate to an Ybor City location may be in jeopardy. The issue is for the proposed site at the former K-Force property. If the team wants a retractable roof, it would need a bigger stadium that might be too big for the historical standards, according to the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Yeah. So it looks like the retractable roof will cost a lot more. So it's putting this in jeopardy. Do we really need a retractable roof? No, we can make another dome, for God's sakes, people. Come on.
Well, and not only that, but here's something that you could also do is like look at what they did at Hard Rock Stadium down in Miami. You can put those big ass I mean, they kind of look like circus tents that are on each corner, but it is night and day different from what it used to be before they put those on there. And I get that, obviously you're trying to cover the field to, compensate for the rain. And man, I just, there's ways around it. You don't have to be so dead set on a retractable roof to say, well, you know what, we're going to piss it all away now because we want a retractable roof. I really am starting to wonder if they're just going to end up renewing their lease in 2027 with the Trop.
Then this team will fail. Not playing wise, but it'll fail like financially, and then they're ultimately going to move out and go somewhere else like Nashville or Charlotte. Because if they stay in Tropicana Field, it's not going to work. I mean, Come on, it's the same. It's the same dog and pony show we've been having to deal with for the past X amount of years when it comes to the stadium issues.
These are get off the pot.
That and these are the like dumbest smart people ever when it comes to getting something done, especially when it comes just to a stadium. Like, put a plan in place, discuss how much it's going to cost, quit being so political about it, and just get it done.
Yep.
And I know it's about money. That's the number one thing is about money. Obviously, it is. I mean, and it's also about St. Pete wanting to keep the Rays and not wanting them to go to Tampa. But look, you have to look at it the bigger picture wise. Would you rather have a team stay where it's at and possibly leave after 2027, or would you like to have the team to go across the bay and hopefully flourish in a bigger market where it would probably succeed when it comes to attendance and everything else? So
Correct.
St. Pete, you got to let it go, man.
You know, something that came to mind yesterday is Jeff Vinnick, the owner of the Lightning. Obviously, he donated $1.2 million to local Tampa charities. The Rays aren't really invested in the Tampa community like the Lightning are, specifically the Lightning, or even like the Buccaneers are. And Sternberg doesn't even live here.
No, he lives up in New York.
So, like, part of my thought process that goes, I mean, I guess this is keeping the tone with the X-Files here, but part of my thought process is like, is that also another reason why he does not want this team, or he's looking for every reason for this team not to move to Tampa because he does not want to do those things? Like, look at the culture that the Lightning have built because Vinnick has embraced the community.
Well, if he's doing that, then he's missing out on more money, though.
I'm totally with you.
You know what I
he
mean?
can't be invested in the community if he doesn't live here.
That's true. That's why it boggles my mind that for an owner to not put a team in the bigger market where you're going to make more money, why wouldn't you just do it? Like what's the holdup? I mean, obviously it is, he might have to pay more for the stadium because the taxpayers' money, they don't really want to do it. I mean, look at the Miami situation. They got bamboozled and swindled and all that stuff. But, if you were an owner, you invested in this team when you bought this team, when you and your ownership group took over from Vince Namoli, okay? You made an investment. You have taken this investment and you have 10x'd it by millions. Probably, I think this team is almost worth $1 billion. So why not take the initial investment that you took in this team and invest it even more into a bigger market? That's what I don't get. Like you're going to make, you're probably going to even 10x your money yet again, bringing this team into the bigger market, which is Tampa. So why not pull the trigger on it? Like you made that risk before by buying the team when the team was really bad, when nobody was going at all, when nobody was coming to the stadium, and you've turned it around and made more money off of it. So as an owner, what's the big issue? You know what I mean?
I'm starting to sell myself on the thought that he does not like that Jeff Vinnick set the bar too high for being a sports owner in this city. And that is part of the reason why, because now you and I have both talked about this before. If you move to Tampa, you are now directly affiliated with a winning culture in Tampa that spends money, with the Lightning, a winning culture with the Buccaneers that spends money. You're now associated with these things that are going above and beyond and donating $10,000 every home game. If you're Jeff Vinnick, you're doing so many different things because you've set the bar and said, I really want to embrace Hillsborough and even Pinellas County. Like I want to embrace that. Whereas if you're kind of the redheaded stepchild sitting over in St. Pete, you're like, yeah, but we're in St. Pete.
See, and if I was Stu, I would want to embrace. You have a winning culture with the team. The team is a winner.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you want to join the winners on the other side of the bay? Like, join that winning culture. Join the winning, like the owners. Join the winners. Like, join the Glazers, winners. The Vinnick group, winners of championships. Like, join that group. Like, open up the door and go say, hey guys, I want to be a part of that club. Like,
sell the team to Vinnick.
Or sell the team. Like, well, Vinnick, he's repeatedly said he's not going to buy the race. He has too much.
I mean, hey, if an offer, I'm willing to bet if he looks at his speed, if he looks at his caller ID and he sees that Sternberg is on the other line, he's going to pick it up and be like,
maybe I'll take this call. Which, maybe, in a world full of conspiracy theories like that we like to do on this show, there could be discussions behind closed doors between those two about, hey, maybe, why don't you just sell me the team? You don't like this area. I love this area. I love this team. Like, I'll just buy it off you. Come on.
Could you imagine like how enthralled Tampa would be with the Rays if they were in Tampa and easily accessible, and B, they were doing community style events like the Lightning are doing.
Do you know how much of a fan base they would get? More of a fan base that the Rays would get if Vinnick bought the team. The Rays would be more embraced by the Tampa Bay area if Vinnick bought the team.
100%. It would be night and day. Mm-hmm. I mean, even and I guess
we would have another
Sternberg short.
We would have another boat parade.
I would be very willing to bet that is accurate, 100% accurate. Like
it would be like we won the championship. We're having a boat parade because Vinnick bought the Rays.
Right.
Come on down. The Spartans Wharf. Bring your jet skis.
I wish. Right.
We'll have Patty Maroon back there and Kucherov with no shirts on. Ladies.
Pat Maroon with no shirt. We're gonna get drunk Cooch to show up again. Yeah, there's
number one bullshit. What? Baseball. We don't have baseball in Russia. Yeah, where's my stick? Where's my Bud Light?
Speaking of the Glazers, did you know that Tom Brady is only the 17th highest paid quarterback in the league?
I can see that, but now he's number one on broadcasting, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
Right. But like when you think about deals, like it doesn't get much. You can't really get a better deal than Tom Brady at number 17 amongst quarterbacks in payroll.
But you know what, Danny? He's got 7 rings, so that it doesn't really matter to him. I mean,
but none of them are real, apparently.
Yes, none of them are real because they're fictional. Fictional rings. See, on my shirt, they seem real.
They look real to me.
I mean, they look real. So I mean,
what?
That's because Tom Brady is a de facto GM when it comes to putting together championship teams. Like that is to me that's how legends are. Is I would rather sacrifice the money I'm going to get paid to win. Like my ultimate goal is to win. Like money is money, but I want to win. That's why I'm in this league. Like getting paid is maybe 25% of that. The other 75 is to win championships. And maybe for Tom Brady, that percentage is a little bit more. Like maybe for Tom Brady, 95% of why I'm in this league is to win championships and 5% is to get paid.
I would say that's a very accurate number, especially at this stage in his career. I mean, he's got so many other things going for him outside of football.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a rich ass wife too. So I mean that helps.
Yeah. I mean that's generational wealth for that entire family for forever, really.
Who's number 1?
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay. See, and that's where it's gonna hurt him. That's where I think it's gonna hurt him in the long run is that contract that he has with the Chiefs, because it's gonna hinder them from bringing in the talent that's gonna build around him. I mean, I mean, they're number 1 star wide receivers now in Miami now.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what Russell Wilson did with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Which is why he's now in Denver. He handcuffed that team so hard to that large contract that he signed that, I mean, outside of getting lucky and drafting DK Metcalf, who did they have on offense?
Rashad Penny.
Right. It's Tyler Lockett, but they drafted him too. So, I mean, that's kind of, unless you get lucky in the draft and hit a home run, then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Bruce Arians spoke about Tom Brady's best friend, Rob Gronkowski. Said that Gronk is, if he's not the best tight end ever, he's top 3.
Gronk, I can get with the top 3 thing, but I think for me, he's got to be number 1.
I think he's number 1 as well. I guess it depends on who he has, because he didn't give any context. He just said, if not the best, he's top 3. I assume that he's talking about Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates ahead of him. But I don't know. They both lead him in yards and receptions.
But they don't have the rings, man.
They don't have the rings, and Gronk is just absolutely destroying them in touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. He's got to be number 1.
I don't see how he can't be.
I think Arians is just being vague because that's how Arians is. He's like, I'll just be vague about shit.
Oh yeah, that's his middle name.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you which number 1. That's
BVA.
You gotta sprinkle some breadcrumbs to let you know who's gonna be number 1.
Gotta watch from Brady though.
Yeah, exactly. He's number 1 in his book.
The tight end conversation is always, it's going to be a conversation that Bucs fans have possibly all year until Gronk makes his return in November, which is what most people are assuming anyway. We have 30,000 comments on that tight end post. That you guys are crazy, and we appreciate it. We appreciate every bit of interaction from our fans, and we're fans just like you too. The only difference is we got a microphone and a camera. That's literally the only difference. Where I'm going with that is Ken Patra of NFL.com released the biggest voids for every team as they head into the season, and lo and behold, for all of those, we're going to be just fine at tight end, people. Yeah, tight end is the biggest void for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading into the season. I attribute Cameron Brate, and I even have this in the notes here, to when Jim Ross talks about wrestlers back in the 90s, and he says, yeah, he was a good hand. A good hand means that you are good, but you are not great at anything. You're a decent to good at everything, but there's nothing about you that stands out, which is Cameron Brate, and that's just fine because you're either a good player or you're a great player in the NFL.
Cam Brate's going to be serviceable for the time being. So
I think so.
The focus of the Bucs offense isn't, hey, we're going to be throwing it to the tight end all the time. Like, that's not the focus. Like, especially with this team and who's leading you under center. Like, this team is now going to be more of a ground and pound team. Like, with Leonard Fournette in the fold, and then, the focus on just because Gronk left, there shouldn't be a conversation. Okay, what are we going to do at tight end? Like, that hasn't been ever been put in place before with the Buccaneers because we hadn't had a tight end like that. So
right.
Calm down, Bucs fans. Like, tight end isn't the focal point of this offense. So relax. We'll be fine.
But keep commenting. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, keep commenting about it. It's okay. I mean, it's good conversation.
Let's see if we can hit 50 by the end of the month.
just pump the brakes about, oh my God, what are we going to do at tight end? Like, well, we have Cam Brate, and then we've got the two guys that we drafted. And I know Cade, what's his last name? Cade Otton. Yeah, Cade Otton. Who's actually getting some good reviews. And also Cody McElroy. They've been getting good remarks in OTAs right now. So, I mean, if Brady isn't the guy, I mean, we have you, as in all teams, it has to be the next guy.
There's 3 other guys on the roster right now.
Exactly.
4 if you count practice squad. And
once again, the tight end isn't really a focal point of this offense.
So right. Well, and here's the thing is Rachaad White is going to be a superstar for this team. He is a fantastic. He's going to basically be what James White was to Tom Brady, which if you're playing fantasy, which we will have a Channelside Sports Fantasy Football League coming up. Details are coming soon. He is going to be a fantasy stud, first of all, because he's going to catch. I'm going to throw a number out there. I think he catches at least 50 passes this season. Because if you look at what Leonard Fournette was doing, I think Leonard Fournette drops 70% from where he was last season in pass catching.
If he turns out to be a James White-esque type of player, that could increase. Now, I'm not giving any fantasy tips away. You'll have to tune into another show for that. But I can see that happening, especially with how I'm sure Tom is going to take all the knowledge that he had in New England and bring it down. Like, he's going to be like, okay, well, I have a passing back now, which I can utilize more than my go-to guy in Leonard Fournette. It's just going to make the offense even more unique and scarier going into the season if he pans out. Now, of course, the Bucs have tried getting passing backs before and they've failed miserably. So
this is true.
So let's see what happens with Rachaad White. Now, if they were high up on this guy drafting him, I mean, hopefully.
Well, here's the thing about Rachaad White is I was doing some diving. I like to watch a lot of like random statistical things and try to crunch numbers and stuff. Like that was kind of how I cut my teeth in this industry, was being a stat guy and a salary cap guy. 94.2% of every number that Rachaad White put up at the combine was identical to Deebo Samuel.
That ain't bad numbers, especially for that guy. That ain't bad.
94.2%.
Not bad at all.
Deebo Samuel is regarded as a superstar in this league.
Sure wants to get paid like one.
Yeah.
Well, and he was a fantasy stud last year. So
absolutely he was. He was on my team.
He was on my team too.
But you have to see how Deebo Samuel is going to play now that Mike McDaniel is down in Miami.
Down in Miami, yeah, that's right.
He was designing all those plays to make Deebo look like the superstar that he is, where, Kyle Shanahan was getting all the credit as the play caller, but he was not the play designer.
Little fantasy hot take, Deebo will have a very, very down year with all that's going on in San Francisco, because who's going to be the starter? We don't know if it's Jimmy G or Trey Lance. And then, of course, you don't have Mike McDaniel as your OC. So it might be a little different this year.
Yes. I'm totally with you on that.
Not saying not to draft him. Just not saying you should draft him high.
I would still look Deebo Samuel's way before Christian McCaffrey, though.
Yes, I would definitely. Yeah. We'll do our fantasy football show later on in the coming months. So.
Oh, for sure. The Buccaneers have the second best secondary in the NFL, according to all Pro Football Focus grades.
Wow, a poll they actually got right this time?
Well, here's the best part, is 4 of those 5 guys are still on their rookie deals.
That's scary, man.
That's good and bad, though, because when you're getting heralded as a great secondary, what do you start seeing if you're one of those players?
I want to start seeing dollar signs. I want to see dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, so that makes it a little more difficult. Like, if you're the Buccaneers, or you're like, hey, media, slow down a little bit. Maybe we do like being under the radar, because we can say, hey, Mike Evans, you're going to the Hall of Fame, but nobody really watches. So we're going to lowball you a little bit.
It is a very negative thing, especially with guys like Antoine Winfield Jr., who's very good, and then we'll probably want to expect a big payday.
Yeah, I could see him being a guy that would be very outspoken about, hey.
Oh, yes. I think
I am who I am.
Out of all those guys, he's the one that I think is going to be where is my money? Like that.
Right. Do you think he's going to do one of these at the end?
If he doesn't get paid, he'll be like, deuces Tampa Bay, and he'll do that. Yeah, and he'll leave. Yeah. Those t-shirts.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to see him. We're not going to see in Tampa Bay.
I don't know. Tell me.
I don't even want Baker Mayfield. I don't want to talk about it.
You know what, Danny? It's okay. If Lamar doesn't sign with the Ravens, he'll come down to Tampa. It's all right.
And that's fine. But I need to, a broken heart needs time to mend.
It's okay.
And the Seahawks
tell that to the
posted
Browns.
Baker Mayfield's jersey on their official store, like a bunch of idiots.
So it is. So the deal is coming then. So he is coming to Seattle.
The jersey was up for 25 minutes.
Okay, so
it wasn't whoops, I hit activate. It was we're gonna post this, and then it went all over Twitter. It's obviously down now, but
if this turns out to be true, good for him. I think good for him, and good for Seattle too. We talked about this before the show, especially for him, because he's now getting out of a toxic team and toxic.
Cleveland media is terrible.
Oh yes, they're bad. But this to get out of what he's in right now, because right now he's still getting paid. If he steps on the field for game 1, he'll get the rest of his money. Now, obviously, if Seattle is interested in looking to make a deal, then he'll get paid there. But with the way where he's at right now, he's just sitting on his couch, just waiting in limbo about what the hell is going to go on. Because, Cleveland is going to go ahead with Jacoby Brissett as the number 1, because depending on what happens today with Deshaun Watson, it's looking like he's going to get a year suspension for what's his off the field issues are. Baker is listed as that. I think Baker's listed as number 3 because they brought in somebody else as the number 2 as the backup.
I think so. You might as well just put an X through Baker Mayfield's name anyway on the depth chart. Just remove him from the depth chart, because they've already said that he's not going to play for us, and he said, I'm not going to play for you.
They've already excused him from any kind of off the OTAs and all that stuff. So you might as well just cut bait and just trying to get a deal done to get him off your team. Because right now, if he's there until game 1, you're going to have to pay him.
Really wish I would have seen him in Tampa, though. I felt so much better about Baker Mayfield than I do. And you know what? Jason Light and the Glazers and Bruce Arians and I would assume Todd Bowles to an extent are very, very, very tight-lipped when it comes to anything. Maybe they already know what's going to happen after this season.
I like the fact that they are.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, it's kind of boring, but I like it at the same time.
Like, give us some nuggets to talk about, guys. Come on, give us something.
Yes, just say something. Like,
I'm telling you, man, Lamar's coming to Tampa. It's happening behind the scenes.
Look, I'm all for giving Lamar Jackson superstar wide receivers to work with because that's always been the biggest problem in Baltimore for him. Is you're like, okay, well, Hollywood Brown was the best wide receiver that he had, who is a number 2, possibly a number 3 option on a lot of other teams. And for those that are like, oh, well, Lamar's not a quarterback. He's never had a wide receiver for you to.
He's had Mark Andrews. That's it.
Right. And your tight end should not be your number 1 option. Watch what happens to Patrick Mahomes this season. We're going to have positional battles in Kansas City at wide receiver between Juju Smith-Schuster and McCole Hardman.
Which these guys are like number 2 on depth charts.
I mean, McCole Hardman was number 3. Oh, and I forgot they have Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Oh, MVS. Oh, yeah, that's right. MVS did go to Kansas City. Yeah. So you have 3 guys that are number 2s on any other teams. Sometime maybe a number 3. So you really don't have a clear-cut number 1 except for Travis Kelce, who's your number 1 guy right now.
Yeah. So, if you want to see what Lamar Jackson looks like without a legitimate number 1 wide receiver with a number 1 tight end, watch Patrick Mahomes very closely this season. And that's, to me, what we're going to see.
See what Tampa's cap space is for next year.
Oh, yeah. That's unless Tom Brady does something. I think he's on the books for like $23 million next year, I believe.
Couple of bucks.
Right, yeah.
Let's see here.
It's not looking good.
No. Yeah, it's not great. They're in the negative.
Yeah, just negative 59 million.
Yeah, they're in the negative. Yeah.
But I mean, hey, look, the New Orleans Saints figured out a way to get out of the hole of being negative 74 million in this offseason and somehow signed the Honey Badger.
And Jarvis Landry too. So
yeah.
The Bucs
maybe the salary cap is smoke and mirrors. Maybe it's not.
Dude, the cap space doesn't exist. It's a myth. It's like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. It doesn't exist, dude.
Santa Claus exists. I saw him when I was a child.
Sure.
You're breaking. You know that parents listen to this show.
Well, you know what? Come to reality and break it to your children.
I apologize to your daughter, James. He's taking her to school. Going, oh my God, Evan just ruined Santa Claus.
I'm just making a joke. That jolly old fat man is real.
Evan makes cookies for Santa every year.
I do, actually.
But he made.
I do. And I eat them. Because
yes,
I am Santa.
Oh, yes. I'm the one who knocks. Jesus.
I'm the one mommy's kissing.
NBA free agency starts on Thursday, which is obviously interesting because the Orlando Magic have a lot of cap space. If you don't follow the NBA regularly, the NBA cap is like impossible to understand with bird rights and luxury tap and hard caps and soft caps and luxury tax caps. And you're like, well, just give me a number. It's 26 million is what that's what the realistic salary cap number for the Magic is.
Well, Danny, let me ask you about I don't follow the NBA. Everybody knows that. But when it comes to an attract play, if they've got so where they stack for like having, are they in the top 10 for having the most cap, or are they Bottom 10, like where are they at?
They're right in the middle. They're about 13.
Okay.
I think the exact number is 13.
So if I'm the Orlando Magic, if I'm a free agent, I'm going to be looking at 12 other teams before I'm going to maybe decide to go to Orlando.
Well, no, because if you sign a supermax contract, so let's say they can attract a free agent like a Zach LaVine from Chicago, who his name has been tied to the Magic for a long time, at least, in the Magic fan base world. You can front load the deal and then have, most of that cap space hit. You can have 26 million hit this year if you want. And then you just have your luxury tax cap where the remainder of that contract goes. So then it kind of evens out all the way down the road. So now you have a superstar player. You've got the number 1 overall pick. You've got a very good point guard in Markelle Fultz. You've got Jonathan Isaac possibly coming back from 2-year hiatus of injuries. And now you're looking at a team that, is on the up and up, and they're coming up. I know Kyrie Irving yesterday, Kyrie Irving opted into his player contract to play with the Nets yesterday. This was after the Nets granted him the ability to seek a trade, a sign and trade. He was willing to re-sign with the Nets. He was interested in either the Lakers, Clippers, Mavericks, Heat, Knicks, or Sixers. Out of those 6 teams, only the Lakers were interested. And a couple of hours after the Nets granted him the ability to seek a sign and trade, he's like, I'm just going to stay here.
I don't think it's over, though.
No, I think it's easier for him to be traded now.
Right. I think there will be a deal that'll come about where he'll be traded to the Lakers, and he'll be reunited with LeBron. But the Lakers will still be shit. And
well, the issue is like the only player that the Lakers would really be willing to part with would be Russell Westbrook, and nobody wants Russell Westbrook at this stage in his
he's
career.
Terrible now.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time he averaged a triple-double for a season. Like, there was a time where Russell Westbrook was the man, and that ain't that time anymore. And it just happened. He Todd Gurley'd himself.
I mean, you could reunite him with KD over in Brooklyn. Just do a straight-up trade.
Yeah, but they don't like each other.
I know.
So it's that makes it difficult because you go, well, we don't want Russell Westbrook. We don't want Kyrie either. I find it funny that Kyrie was interested in the Knicks. Nobody's ever interested in the Knicks, truly.
No. Nobody ever says that in free agency. Hey, I want to go to the Knicks.
Right.
It's a great place to play.
Well, and part of the reason you want to leave Brooklyn is because you don't like the laws in New York, the health laws that are in New York. The Knicks play in New York.
I don't think he knows that. I don't think.
But the Earth is also flat, according to Kyrie.
That's also true. Yeah.
Wait. What's true? That he said that, or that the Earth's flat?
Both.
That's gonna do it for us. Evan will no longer be on the show.
I am not a flat earther. I'm not an idiot. Trust me. The Earth is round, symmetrical wise. It is round.
Yes,
it's round. Don't worry.
I'm totally with you. But yeah, NBA free agency starts on Thursday, so that'll be fun to see if the Magic are going to become buyers when it comes to trying to attract some free agents. When you've got the momentum of having the number 1 overall pick with a pretty solid roster around him, I think that definitely helps for you to attract a big name free agent. They were just talking about, we signed Vince Carter on this day in 2000, and I think it was 2005, maybe. That's pretty cool. Just think about that. He was a little bit past his prime, maybe a year past his prime, but he was still very good when he was in Orlando.
I think this past week, it was like 30 years to the day. Not today, of course, but it was the 30 years to the day that Orlando drafted Shaq.
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah, and look, Paolo Banchero's got huge shoes to fill. Your number 1 overall picks are all Hall of Famers. If you're the Orlando Magic, you've got huge shoes to fill, and he seems like he's the right kid to do it. And that's the most promising part. Obviously, you know, I'm getting more acclimated to our Orlando Magic because that's our team in the Tampa area. So I grew up a Laker fan because I was a Kobe Bryant fan. So I'm getting more acclimated to the Orlando Magic. We're actually going to we'll have a couple Orlando Magic journalists on next week to talk about anything that does or does not happen in free agency and what that would mean for the Magic heading into the season. So
Sweet.
Stay tuned. We've got a lot of cool things coming up behind the scenes that even Mr. Evan Bush is unaware of.
I know, which you should share with me.
Not on air.
No,
not on air, sir. I will not. That is definitely going to do it for us today on this Tuesday edition of Channelside in the Morning, live on the Channelside Sports Network. Got a new hotline number, so you guys can actually call in. You can text in as well. We'll tweet that out for you. As always, follow us on all of the social media platforms. Just search for the Channelside Sports Network. If you're watching on YouTube or you do end up watching this on replay via YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, which you most likely will be, head on over to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Let us know what you think. Hopefully you like what you heard. And if not, we do this every day anyway.
Screw you.
Every single day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 9. Channelside in the Morning is live with Evan and myself. And we will see you guys mañana on a hump day.
Go Rays.